Well, hello YouTube. This is actually really random. I didn't have a video planned for this, but I was driving around the city and I happened to see this amazing statue. So I just pulled over and I'm walking up to it now. And we'll figure out what it is. Let's see. Look at that. I was just driving by. It's a pretty busy day, you can see. It's a beautiful weather. So I was driving by these fields and look at this. I'm near the reservoir. Yeah, look at that. Wow. Who is that? It's definitely a Native American, right? Let's see. Is it marked at all? Who is this? I don't see any marking on this statue at all. Let's see around the back. Nope, nothing. Who the heck is this guy? What's going on? Why isn't there a marking on this statue? Literally have no idea who this person is. But he's got a statue, so. Okay. Interesting. So, yeah, does anybody know who this guy is? Anybody know? Completely unmarked. Right there, riding his horse. And, yeah, I was just driving by. I didn't even know this was here. I didn't know this was here myself, and I figured I'd stop and check it out, so. Let's take a closer look, I guess. All right, let's get a closer look in here. So there does seem there was something. Maybe that was where a plaque was on the pedestal. I don't know. Definitely don't see any marking for sure. Look at this guy. Look at those moccasins. His shoes are really neat. No saddle, bareback. Bullhorn or buffalo horn. Wearing the buffalo horns. That is a really beautiful statue. Look at the expression on his face. Expression of concern, perhaps? I don't know. I wonder who this could be. Yeah, again, right over there is North Philly. I just drove across, down Girard and then up to this part of North Philly where all the fields are by the reservoir. And, who would have thought? I've been here so many times, but never really noticed the statue. Just sort of off in the corner on the entrance on this is Reservoir Road, Reservoir Boulevard. And, Laurel Hill is that way. But yeah, I don't know who this is. Amazing. All right, maybe I'll Google for a second and try and figure it out. I'll get back to you. Okay, so I looked it up. This is actually a really cool statue. It is by a sculptor named Cyrus Dallin, I believe is how you pronounce it. Cyrus Dallin. The sculpture was made in 1899, and Cyrus Dallin is apparently a pretty big deal in American sculpture. He's from Utah, and he studied in Boston to become an artist. And he made this statue to represent the helplessness of man in the face of nature. So apparently that's why the Native American here is portrayed half nude. I do see a little loincloth up there, but it's mostly nude, so that's why. Here, we'll take a quick break. Man, I always, when I'm filming, this gentleman here, he just was walking by and he had some Cherokee in him, in his blood, and he told me about his thoughts on Native Americans, and you know, he has a personal connection to this statue. His name's David, so thank you, David, for telling me about your mom and the tribes of Israel, 7 tribes. He talked about the Taino Indians in Puerto Rico and stuff like that. Some things about the 7 tribes of Israel, so you can maybe guess at what his belief systems are. But it's very interesting, you know, when these statues matter to people. And this isn't marked, but it's called the Medicine Man. I looked it up. Medicine Man, and yeah, as I was saying, it was sculpted. It was made by a sculptor named Cyrus Dallas, or I've already. Hold on, let me look it up again and get back to you. Okay, I may have to do another video when I'm back home and I can actually look up this sculpture and give you more information, because it's actually quite an impressive. So it's one sculpture out of 4 that Cyrus Dallin completed about the Native Americans, and it's called the Medicine Man. Yeah, so the medicine men in Native American cultures are obviously they're like the priests, right? You go to them to heal and spiritual and physical ailments. They'll cure you, and this depiction of the medicine man has a lot of symbolism. The bull horns mean something. The fact that he's not wearing a shirt means something. The bareback riding without the saddle. It just, apparently it's all meant to show the relationship of man to the earth and the spiritual side of existence, and how small man is and how vulnerable we are to nature and the universe. So, and the medicine man was sort of the conduit between the spirit world and nature and mankind. So something like that. That's sort of in the ballpark of what this statue is about. And again, I'm gonna maybe look this up and come back to you with better information, because apparently this statue was displayed at the Paris at a salon in Paris, maybe, or the Paris show of some sort, and then Fairmount Parks Association purchased it and put it here in 1903. So it's been here for over 100 years, and it's really beautiful. And he's looking out over the fields. You know, this is out there is Strawberry Mansion, out there, that neighborhood called Strawberry Mansion, and you can just see the skyscrapers of Philly right out there. So this is the territory that he's looking over. Yeah, wow. What a really fascinating random discovery to find this statue right here. Again, I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna look up more information, and I'll get back to you with some details at the end. So after this clip, I'll put some details. All right. Hey YouTube, Future Sean here, and guess what? That statue has its own Wikipedia page. That's how impressive it is. It actually has a Wikipedia page. So let me just read you some of the Wikipedia page, because fascinating, right? So yeah, it's called The Medicine Man. Okay. The Medicine Man is an 1899 bronze equestrian statue by Cyrus Edwin Dallin. I think I said that right. Cyrus Edwin Dallin, located on Dauphin Street, west of 33rd Street in Fairmount Park, which is where I was. The statue portrays an indigenous American medicine man. Okay. It's the second of 4 prominent sculptures of indigenous people on horseback drawn. Indigenous people on horseback known as the Epic of the Indian, which also includes a signal of peace, protest of the Sioux, and appeal to the Great Spirit. Okay, so that's interesting. So it's one of 4 statues. A signal of peace was made in 1890. Medicine Man was made in 1899. Protest of the Sioux was made in 1904. And Appeal of the Great Spirit was made in 1908. Interesting. Okay, so a little bit more about the history. Jeez, the Wikipedia page is so long. I recommend you go look at it because there's an amazing old photo. Like, I'll just flip the camera around. Look at that. Medicine Man at the Paris Exposition Universelle in 1900. There it is. So it was in Paris. Okay, dedication. No, we don't want to. Let's go back up. So the history of the Medicine Man. Cast in 1899, was exhibited at the Paris Salon, placed away from other sculptures to confer honor. Very nice. Okay. So then the Paris Exposition, the Austrian government sought to purchase it, and then the Philadelphia Fairmount Park Art Association bought it for $6,000. Nice. That's a good deal. Although that's $1,900, so $6,000 is quite a lot. Dallin himself selected the site for the sculpture. Cool. That's pretty cool. Yeah, a signal of peace. And he was working on his first Native American monument. Wow, Buffalo Bill's Wild West. This is so fascinating. I love finding little things like this. I'm not going to read the whole Wikipedia page because that would be boring, but go read it. It's so fascinating. And this is something, living in Philly and in East Coast cities like Boston and New York and even down in DC, I think so. Baltimore. I think there are a lot of these random statues and monuments to Native Americans that we just don't know about, and I think it's, that statue isn't even marked. I think maybe someone should write to the Fairmount Park Art Association and just be like, hey, just can you put a marking on it, please? Because I think it makes sense if you put a statue up, you should tell people what it is. That being said, I do wonder if Dallin himself didn't want it to be marked somehow. Maybe Dallin had an opinion about whether the title should appear on the pedestal or not. But yeah, it's very interesting. Okay, let me read. I'm going to read one more part of the Wikipedia page for you. Okay, so this is a long quote. So a member of the Omaha Nation gave an address titled "Who Was the Medicine Man?" at the dedication. He praised Dallin for getting the true character of the medicine man in Native American culture, emphasizing dignity and strength. Here's what he said. I cannot discuss, from the standpoint of an artist, the medicine man as he is here portrayed by your sculptor, but in the serious expression, the dignified bearing, the strength of pose, I recognize the character of the true medicine man. Break for applause. He who was the mediator between his people and the Great Spirit. The statue at once brings back vividly to my mind the scenes of my early youth, scenes that I shall never again see in their reality. This reopening of the past, to me, would never have been possible had not your artist risen above the distorting influence of the prejudice one race is apt to feel toward another, and been gifted with the imagination to discern the truth which underlies a strange exterior. So well spoken. Beautiful. Yeah, so I'm glad that, okay, so the Board of Commissioner McAllister praised the statue's balance and realism and idealization and said, um, I am glad that Mr. Dahlin, while he was not departed from the Indian, has given us the idealization of the Indian character, as best manifested by the medicine man. I congratulate the city of Philadelphia in having within its borders a work of art at once so beautiful, so full of interest to us, and one which I think will have lasting value. Yeah, I agree. It does have lasting value. So, look how long this Wikipedia page is, okay? I'm not going to read everything, but incredible. Let's look at the, okay, let's look at this quote. I think this is an interesting one. Similarly, a review of 4 sculptures that make up Dahlin's series. Pomeroy interprets Medicine Man statue as that sounds the note of warning. He observes, the Medicine Man at Fairmount Park, Philadelphia, is Dahlin's second portrayal of the Red Man's history as he tells it in bronze. The Medicine Man holds up his hand warningly. See, I called it. I thought he was concerned. He is the seer of his people. He warns that the white faces are not to be trusted. Even the horse stands with upraised ears, vigilant. Both foretell the inevitable that has driven the North American Indian toward the sunset. Yeah, how about that? And I'm sure, it makes you wonder why it's placed where it is. Clearly, Dahlin chose that spot in the park. And I will say that corner, it's not completely out of the way. It's pretty prominent, but I do wonder if Dahlin placed it there expecting that area to be developed more so that it would maintain like a place of prominence. Whereas right now, if you see in the video, behind the statue is just a ton of brambles and woods, and it's full of trash, and the ground there is not well kept. And the statue itself is really, it's sort of at the exit of the park, or entrance, I guess. Like when you're going down towards the Schuylkill, right? Like Boathouse Row is right. You kind of come down that road, and it empties you out onto basically right at the Schuylkill banks. So I wonder if he thought that area would stay, if it was more prominent in the landscape when he chose that spot, and now it's sort of that area developed in a different direction, and now it's sort of off to the side. I'm not sure, but in any case, yeah, just a really random, fascinating statue in Philly about a Native American medicine man. So thanks for coming along on this, and yeah, we'll see. I definitely felt the Native Americans' presence there. It was quite a busy intersection, and I didn't see any birds, but I think the medicine man himself, I felt something, right? The spirit called me to the statue. I literally saw it as I was driving by, and I had to park, and I walked back up the hill to see it. So something drew me there. So I don't know. Maybe the Great Spirit called me. I don't know. So on a final note to end this video, yeah, a little bit of a heavy topic. I started this YouTube channel about three months ago now. We're coming up to the end of the 3rd month, and I didn't know what I was gonna be making when I made this YouTube channel, and I sort of have followed the audience. And you all love when I go on these adventures and find Native American sites in the woods, and I love that too. So it's perfect. It's a perfect match. Now I have to credit someone else with inspiration for my adventures in this regard, and for specifically for filming these adventures and sharing them with you. And that would be Desert Drifter. Now, if you are on YouTube, I encourage you to please look up Desert Drifter's channel. Sadly, about a month ago, Desert Drifter was in a car accident and he passed away. And yesterday, or maybe 2 days ago, one of the last videos that he ever made was published. And I'll tell you, it really got to me. This guy, Desert Drifter, was one of the I really admired him. He's one of the best YouTubers out there, in my opinion, covering Native American topics. Very similar style to the videos I make, very sort of ad hoc, walking through the desert. He would just point the camera and show you what he saw, right? And he would do these selfies. He had a little more advanced editing than I do, and he had a drone, I think, and some 360 camera gear, and he's also just a much more advanced climber. I think I could probably have kept up with him with backpacking because I'm a pretty advanced backpacker by now. But he had this ability to climb along the cliffs, and he covered the Southwest. So all of his videos took place in the Grand Canyon area and Arizona and Utah. And I love those states. I've been there many times, and I am inspired by him. And he, I've been doing my project of finding Native American sites in the woods and covering that, hiking to them and covering them for several years, many years, really. So long before I've discovered Desert Drifter, I've been doing this just for myself. But I have to say, I didn't really think, when I started this channel, I made some videos about those sites and took you along. The inspiration for doing that was Desert Drifter in some way, not entirely. I can't say that I really had him at the front of my mind specifically, but I'm sure through the subconscious ingestion of his content that it influenced me to put that format out there. I've had several YouTube influences, I think Wandering Woodsman is obviously one of the great influences for this channel. He covers spots out specifically in Pennsylvania and nearby states. And Desert Drifter, I really also, both Wandering Woodsman and Desert Drifter had something in common. And Desert Drifter, I feel like, was special. He was special in that, they both have this ethic of taking care of the land. And Desert Drifter in particular had such integrity on his adventures. When he would go to a site, he wouldn't change anything. He wouldn't touch it. Or if he touched it, he would make sure he was delicate and he didn't destroy anything. And man, losing him is such a loss to not just YouTube and not just hikers, but really in some sense humanity, because he was in America. He was covering our heritage as a country, and he would go to these places that many people consider sacred, and he covered them. And the thing is, the sites that he would cover were special because they're up, they're sort of these fortresses and granaries that ancient peoples, usually I think mostly Anasazi, basically the ancient people who lived in the Grand Canyon in the Southwest, they built these stone structures on cliff sides. And the fact that they're on cliffs makes them super hard to reach. So Desert Drifter was special because he had the talent as a climber to scale these very precarious, I'm talking, he had to crawl and shimmy sometimes through little cuts in the rock and with 1,000-foot drop on one side. And he would be on his back, sort of shimmy, or his side, shimmying through. And if he just slipped, he'd fall through and he'd fall down to his death. But he had the skill set to do those climbs and do those hardcore adventures to reach these remote places. And many of the places he went, it's quite possible that no one has visited them since Desert Drifter. Like, and those sites are thousands of years old, or at least hundreds, probably hundreds at least. So, he's very special. He visited places that people haven't visited for hundreds of years, most likely, and may never visit again. And he did it well, like with integrity. And he didn't, a lot of people who visit these places don't respect them. They leave trash, or they write their name, or they like carve stuff into the rocks or the trees, or they push stuff over, or they, remove artifacts. Unfortunately, I've been guilty of that when I was younger, but I put the artifacts back, in part because I saw Desert Drifter and how much he respected these sites. He really inspired me. So yeah, his passing really affects me deeply, and I just wanted to make a little tribute to him, and say that this channel, whatever I end up doing with this channel, these adventures are dedicated in part to him. And I encourage you to go visit his channel and subscribe. I don't know what they'll do with it now. His wife spoke a little bit about figuring out what they're going to do with the channel. Maybe they'll make it a memorial of some sort, a memorial channel to him and his life. But it's only been a couple weeks since he passed away, so it's too soon, I think, to know what they're really going to do with it. But yeah, I don't know what else to say. Other than that, I wish I could have met him, I thought, I sort of dreamed that someday I'd get to meet him. I was a big fan. And, he'll be missed. And, my heart goes out to his family in a big way. Big loss. And, yeah. If there's anything I can do, what I'll do is I'll try to continue in his footsteps, It could be fun if next time I'm out in the Southwest, in Utah and Arizona, if I have occasion to go to any of the sites that he ever visited, maybe I'll get to someday walk literally in his footsteps. But for now, I'll continue doing these videos and this channel sort of as an homage to him in part, and yeah, that's really it. All the best to his wife and his parents, and what a loss. I know he was a Christian man, so I hope he's up in heaven looking down on us and approving of our journey here on this channel. Hey, Desert Drifter. Yeah, I think I'll leave it there. So sorry to end this on a sort of a downer note, but it's an important thing to talk about. He passed away, and I want to honor him. So this is my way of honoring him. If you appreciate this, please, as always, like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Yeah.